Hey everyone, before we get started on a very exciting episode, please know that we are brought to you today by AudiophileuSA.com. With over 42,000 of the cleanest used records in stock, dig and find the deals at AudiophileuSA.com. We're also brought to you by Groove Washer, the best record cleaner that protects and prolongs your vinyl. Ask your record retailer for the Groove Washer by name and accept no substitutes. And with that, on with the show. Well, hey everyone, it's Nate. Welcome to episode 309 of The Vinyl Guide, the podcast for record collectors and music nerds. And today we are celebrating this week's induction of Randy Rhoads to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame by discussing the records, the music, and legend of Randy with his brother and sister, Kathy and Kelle, and they'll be sharing stories and talking about musical memories of their brother. And I must say, we are absolutely honored to have them here on the show today. It was so sweet of them to take some time and come on and talk about Randy's records, the ones he bought, the ones he made. We talk about some of the key events in his musical life. We settle some of the mysteries and conjecture on Randy's career. And of course, we celebrate his life and musical contribution to all our lives. Randy Rhoads is being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this week, and as family and fans, we couldn't be more proud. I'm sure there's going to be lots of videos and pictures online of the event. However, if you want to get some great behind-the-scenes news in real time, make sure to follow Kathy's Instagram, Darg Mama, for pictures, items, personal stories, and more. And for all you Patreon supporters of the Vinyl Guide, we've put up a special video version of this interview that's only available at patreon.com/vinylguide. Repeat, this video is only for patreon.com/vinylguide supporters. So if you're a supporter of the show, head up there now and enjoy the visuals. If you're not a Patreon supporter at this moment, that's okay. It's not too late. You can join now. Just go to patreon.com/vinylguide. Sign up for $5, $10, whatever you can afford. You get extra stuff, extended interviews, early episode access, secret episodes, even video interviews like the one today. Whatever you can afford, $5, $10 more, everything is appreciated. It helps support the show and keep us going. That's patreon.com/vinylguide, where you get to hear and even see the rest of the show. All right, so let's get into today's interview on the legend and records of Randy Rhoads with Kathy Rhoads D'Argenzio and Kelle Rhoads. Hello, hello, hello.
Hi there.
Hi, Nate.
Hi.
I'm here.
Hey, there you are.
Hi.
Good.
All right. Well, thank you very much for spending time with us here. Here on the Vinyl Guide, we absolutely love music and we collect records. And your brother was part of quite a few really interesting recordings that I'd like to spend a few moments to talk to you about. Thanks for making the time.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome.
So let's start at the beginning. I mean, with his the records that Randy owned. What are your recollections about some of the records that he brought home and the ones that really inspired him?
At what age point in his life, though?
Well,
it's the different stages.
Sure. As far back as you could remember, what do you think is the first records that really, drew him into music?
Well, for sure, Alice Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
Young years.
Yeah. Aerosmith.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think of his record collection.
He had even Jimi Hendrix, because we split those albums up.
He had Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix.
He had, let's see, what else?
This is early years.
Early years. Okay.
Later years evolved more classical.
Right.
Everything he listened to was all classical.
I'm drawing a blank. I can't think of anything.
That's all right.
Besides what I answered.
That's all right. Was there money in the house for a lot of records? Was he able to get a lot, or was it few and far between?
No, we didn't even have money for the record player.
Yeah, that's an interesting point that you brought up.
We didn't have a record player.
That's a very interesting point. I'm glad you brought that up, because even though we were a very musical family, and we studied lessons, my mom, as a single parent raising us kids, couldn't afford to buy a stereo. So which is probably a good thing for Randy because he developed his own style.
Eventually, she used to collect green stamps, and she goes, "Okay, here, this should be enough to get a record player," and that's how we got our record player. I redeemed the S&H green stamps.
That's a big thing
to get the record player, and then we had a little bit more with the record player bit.
Oh, okay. Did the three of you have to coordinate like which records to buy and share?
I don't remember that.
No, I think by that time I was probably out of the house by the time you finally got that. So
I think by the time I got that, she was gone.
I was married,
and Randy and I liked the same kind of music. So it wasn't whatever he played and whatever I played, we both liked. He turned me on to Aerosmith and UFO, and I turned him on to whatever, Alice Cooper for sure. And we kind of had a compatible. They were both. We liked the same kind of rock music.
Sure. Now you mentioned a little bit ago splitting up some of the records after he'd passed. Did you split up his record collection? Yeah. Do those records still exist in your collections at all?
Do we still own them? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but like later in life, he got like classical records because he got more interested in that. I know he had some Boccacelli records. He liked cello and some other classical records that he just liked.
And guitarists, like a lot of
guitarists,
classical guitarist records.
Yeah.
So he would unwind and listen to that when he'd be home from the road.
But I remember when he came home from the road, he told me what calmed him was like the kind of music you'd hear in a dentist's office. It just background, because he just wanted music he didn't have to think about too much.
Oh, okay.
So he would put music on that.
Between that and then he also had a hobby of collecting miniature Z trains when he was on tour with Ozzy in Europe. Mm-hmm. And so he would build elaborate sets to go with the little miniature. They're the size of a walnut, these trains. And he loved it. And so to unwind, he would listen to the classical music and build these sets.
Smallest gauge, I think, you could buy. Okay. He had to get them in Germany. He got them in Germany.
Yeah.
And they were like the smallest gauge that was a functioning railroad.
How did he discover them? If they were made in Germany, was it only on tour in Europe that he discovered these small trains, or did he have that fascination beforehand?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
We, as a family growing up, we loved trains our whole lives. Our mom, a big splurge for us would be going on a train trip. Like we went across country on a Pullman and a train that had sleeping quarters. And it was like a big part of our life. So trains were always a big thing.
She didn't like to fly.
Yeah.
So when we took vacations, we would go on a train, on the railroad.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, the first time my mom ever went on a plane in her life was when she went to go visit Randy in England when he was recording with Ozzy.
Yeah.
She was like, obviously well seasoned by then and had never been on a plane.
Oh.
There was a fear of flying for her and actually Randy. So
yeah, they both were afraid.
Was Randy's first plane trip, was that when he went to England and got rejected and had to come back?
No, I think he'd been on planes before that, maybe like to Mexico or yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah. When he went to Mexico.
I forgot about that. Yeah, he went down to Mexico.
But probably the longest plane flight, yes.
Yeah,
definitely.
Okay. Now, in the early years with Quiet Riot, they made a few 45 records. I think one of them is called the Magic Hand record.
Magic Wand.
Magic Wand.
Magic Wand. Yeah.
Okay.
And on the one that says something about back to the coast, that's what the title got changed to. Wasn't the original title. It's not the title on that record. I wrote that song with Randy.
Oh, okay. West Coast Tryouts.
Yeah. And it got changed because they figured Back to the Coast was a better title. And I think that Kevin was right. That was really the chorus of the song. So they changed it. Now, I read in your questions about a couple that were sold at the Starwood or given away.
Correct.
I don't remember those. Yeah, I don't remember those.
I have one right here.
Okay.
This is a record, and since this is an audio show, I'll have to post some pictures of this, but this is a record, I believe it came from Kevin's collection, and they had some hand-pressed records, about 100, as I understand the story, that they gave away for a Starwood show.
Okay, it sounds logical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the first time hearing the story and seeing the record, yeah?
I've never seen that record before.
Oh, okay.
Never.
I don't think I have that one, but I have some other ones that were like demos or something, I think. So
You probably have the one that says with a wand.
Yeah.
And it shows the wand. The guy.
Yes.
That
Right.
we've seen.
Okay, all right. Do you know the story of that Magic Wand record?
I don't.
Well, let's see. What can I tell you? I wrote the song with Randy. Now Kelly Garney claims I wrote the whole thing, and they listened to me playing it on piano, and they copied it. I don't remember that. I remembered working on it with Randy, and then they pressed them up. They pressed a certain amount of them up, and the person that was managing them at that time paid for them. Got
it. Okay. I have a few names here that may jog some memories. A gentleman named Dennis Wagman.
He
was the manager.
First manager. Yeah.
Okay. I understand he's the person behind Magic Wand Productions. I also understand, you can confirm or correct if you know, I understand Dennis may have been the gentleman who sold Randy that cream color Les Paul.
He
got that at Guitar Center.
Okay.
Dennis did, but I think he presented it to Randy, and I think he gave it to him, and then Randy later paid him back.
Paid them all back.
Yeah.
He paid everybody back. I guess Dennis and the other guys in Quiet Riot chipped in, and it wasn't something that they expected to get paid back for, but he paid everybody back.
Okay.
Now, you know the reason why he got that guitar?
No, tell me.
Okay, I will. He used to have a black SG, and it wouldn't stay in tune for a whole song. Okay. From the time they begin to play the song till the end, it would already be out of tune. So they said, you have to get another guitar. So he said he would do that. Now, what's interesting is the Dickies. The guy in that band was Ron Sobel's brother, and he took the guitar. They went on tour, and people knew that it was Randy's guitar before him, and it got stolen.
Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah. That was a black SG.
Yeah,
all right.
A white one too.
Yeah, he had a white SG with beautiful gold pickups, and the thing was gold. Beautiful.
Family still has that.
Yep. Yeah, we have all of his guitars, all of his
equipment.
Yeah, we have everything.
Oh, okay. Where has the equipment been for the last, is it 40 years now? Yeah.
Not answering there.
Yeah, well, it's just.
Don't ask us that.
No, but what we'll say, it's undisclosed, obviously for security reasons.
Sure.
But it's protected, secured storage, and it's acclimated, professionally, but we can't divulge.
Of course. Yeah. And I think a lot of that, is that going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame at this point anyway?
Well, just
one guitar.
One guitar. We picked the Concorde because on a plane flight when he was with Ozzy, we took a Concorde flight, from England back to home for Christmas, and he was so impacted by that flight, he actually designed that guitar from that Concorde flight.
If you take the guitar and you put it up like this, you could see where it's the Concorde. It's the plane.
Yeah, it's a perfect name for it.
Yeah.
It's true.
That was a Christmas present, I think. He got to go on the Concorde from England to New York. It didn't come clear out here. So then he took another plane from New York to out here.
Yeah, and he loved it. We still have postcards from his flight, everything. Yeah.
Very good. So, sorry to get back to the record nerd part of the conversation, but going back to that Magic Wand, do you remember how they sold or how they distributed those records? Did they give away gigs or anything like that?
I really don't recall that.
Yeah,
I don't recall that.
Okay. Now, when it comes to Quiet Riot 1 and 2, the Japanese albums, what do you recall about, I guess, the deal that came about with those?
I remember it was a real shitty deal.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
It was terrible. It was. Here's what happened. They had they had a desperate attempt to find a label that would release the record, and they finally did. And it was Buddha Records, and they signed with them, and they went under. There was no more Buddha Records. So the best they could do was get a deal with CBS, Sony Japan, and it wasn't a good deal at all. They kind of saved face that way because they really did put out a record. Now those are collector's items.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you remember Randy's thoughts on those? Was he happy with those recordings? What was
when he made them? He was real happy. And then after he got in Ozzy, he didn't even want those released.
Yeah, he didn't. And you know what? What's interesting, my mom finally told him one day, Randy, the reason you kind of never made it is because the music really basically sucked. Because my mom was a professional musician.
Yeah.
And that really hurt, him, his ego. But it was constructive criticism, and it made him try harder. So, yeah. Definitely. And he knew it. And he got to that point that once he finally got to where he was happy with his music, he didn't want anybody to hear that stuff.
Yeah, he
anymore. Didn't
want people hearing those records.
Yeah, so probably knowing that people want to buy that stuff.
But you know what? You've heard those records. There's some pretty good stuff on there. I think Killer Girls was good. Mm-hmm. Some stuff was good.
Yeah, they've got their moments, but of course, when you compare to the rest of the work he's done, it's very, very different.
And, he grew so much with Ozzy.
Yeah,
because Ozzy gave him the platform that he needed to soar. That's it.
And it really helps to get to work with a higher grade of musicians.
Yeah.
Right.
So and Randy struggled so many years this was his baby. This was his, dream to make it with this band, and it just wasn't going where he wanted. And, he finally got this opportunity to go with Ozzy, which he did not want to do.
Right. My mom forced him
to do it.
He didn't want to go to
He didn't
want to go to the
interview.
Yeah, interview. And when you go and you see if you like the record or the band. And she talked him into going to that. And then she talked him into joining.
Yeah. And he did what she said.
Yeah, she sure did.
So his plan, had your mom not interfered, his plan was to stay a teacher and perhaps even stick with Quiet Riot.
Well, he was really happy teaching.
Yeah, he loved teaching.
He loved it.
He was a great teacher.
He loved teaching. And I think, I don't know what he would have done about Quiet Riot. It was just obvious. I mean, even when he told Rudy goes, look, I'm already looking to get in another band. So he goes, don't worry about loyalty. Do what you got to do.
I think Randy was very loyal to, his beginnings and what his envision was. But it just wasn't going to happen. And he needed...
Well, it wasn't going to happen with him. But then a year later, Quiet Riot put out, I think, the highest selling metal record.
After Randy passed.
That ever... I think they sold more Metal Health than any other record. And it was a fluke. It was incredible.
Yeah. It would seem to me that those first two Quiet Riots, the Japan ones, a lot of those decisions musically were made by Kevin, which I would think would constrain Randy in the band. Now, when Randy went to Ozzy, obviously he was able to flourish, but then that unit still worked with Kevin making the decisions, just not with Randy on guitar.
Right. And I'm kind of surprised that it did. It really was... a shock that it was taken so well.
Yeah. Did your mom get along well with Kevin?
She got along with everybody because she was real sharp and didn't let her. She didn't let her emotions get in the way like I do. If I don't like you, you know it. I let you know right away.
She was a very strong individual, and you never knew what she was thinking.
Yeah, she was smart.
Never knew what she was thinking. She'd never let you know. But
I can tell you now that Randy and Kevin are both gone. Nobody liked Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin was he had a very, very difficult personality.
But Randy was the type of person that could work with somebody because he was a very even-keeled, very kind, very patient person. And he just wanted this to work. And
yeah, he allowed Kevin to lead in the only way that Kevin knew how, which was pretty blustering.
When they got with Kevin, Kevin was willing to make decisions, and Kelle and Randy were like, "We don't know what to do. We don't know where to play. What should we do now?" And so Kevin kind of like guided them in the early part of their career.
So Randy, as I understand, towards the end of his time with Ozzy, was thinking more and more about classical music.
Yes.
There's been the illusion of that he was going to leave Ozzy's band to pursue a career in classical music. Is it true?
We'll be back after these messages.
Hey there, I gotta tell you about the Groove Washer. Not because I have to, but because I want to. The Groove Washer is the best record cleaner you can get. And if you have a vinyl collection, you need to keep it clean. Dirt and dust lead to groove wear, which affects the sound and value of your record collection. Use the Groove Washer to clean before each play, and your ears and future pocketbook will thank you. Ask for the Groove Washer by name at your local record store, or go direct to groovewasher.com and use promo code VinylGuide10 at checkout. Groove Washer is a great holiday gift. Why not send one to a friend? groovewasher.com, discount code VinylGuide10. Do it now. And all record nerds want to hear about AudiofileUSA.com, the family-owned and operated online record shop that's been in business over 30 trustworthy years. AudiofileUSA.com only sells excellent and near-mint vinyl records, only in tip-top quality for your turntable. And with over 42,000 titles, you're sure to find a bunch on your want list at AudiofileUSA.com. Audiophile vinyl is not just for the elite. Everyone can enjoy the gold standard of sound at AudiofileUSA.com. Search by title, genre, label, dig and find the deals at AudiofileUSA.com, home of the Holy Grails.
Now we return to the program already in progress.
No limits.
So Randy, as I understand, towards the end of his time with Ozzy, was thinking more and more about classical music.
Yes.
There's been the illusion of that he was going to leave Ozzy's band to pursue a career in classical music. Is it true?
No, that's a big misconception.
Okay.
He wanted some time off from the band to get a degree in guitar studies, and he very much intended to return back. He was not going to quit. He just wanted some time off, and he was going to go and pursue his degree.
Our parents both went to UCLA.
So
that's here in California, and he wanted to go back to UCLA. My mom had it in the works beginning at the end, and he was going to go and get his master's degree and then figure out kind of where he was going to go forward. I think he was willing to come back and do another recording with Ozzy. He agreed to that, but where that would have gone after he had gone back to college and gotten this degree, we don't know. But definitely totally focused on classical music.
Yeah, his plans were to go back.
And I think a key to say, Nate, is for Randy, it was always about the music. He didn't care about being the rock star. And so he just wanted to study and learn more, accelerate. He was a perfectionist about his music, and this was important to him to do this. Yeah.
Do you know if he was already writing that third album for Ozzy, the music that would have been on that third album?
Don Airey claims that he and Randy worked on music that would maybe have gone to that record. But there isn't any of it anyplace. We've never heard of it. You know, I don't doubt it that they did, but I haven't actually heard any of it.
Right.
But Don Airey claims that they actually were working on ideas.
Okay. Are there a lot of recordings of Randy that have not been made public yet?
No.
The only one I can think of is I used a minute and 32 seconds of one of his solos on one of my records,
Mm-hmm.
and it's on Portraits of Oblivion.
Okay.
It's the fifth cut, and it's just a minute and about 32 seconds of him doing a solo. I recorded it, and I didn't know what to do with it. So I sat on it for years and years and years, made it part of a song. Actually, you listen to the radio going like this.
Like a frequency.
Yeah, and you hear the frequencies, and it got little pieces in it of I didn't know what to do with those songs, and they fit real good into that.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm definitely going to check that out. Portraits of Oblivion.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay. When he was recording for Ozzy, especially the first album, Blizzard of Oz, as I understand it, the band at the time was going to be called the Blizzard of Oz, and then turned into.
He was under the impression it would be called Blizzard of Oz,
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, I remember one day because he was really mad. He gave me the shirts back that they gave him. All of a sudden,
one of them on today,
yeah,
from Randy.
all of a sudden now it's Ozzy Osbourne and the Blizzard of Oz, and then it was just Ozzy Osbourne,
right?
So
that didn't sit well with Randy.
No. Mm.
When the albums arrived, do you recall when the albums arrived? Did you send yeah?
Well, I remember he came home
Yeah.
with I don't know what you call it.
A demo tape.
A demo or an acetate, something like that.
Yeah, recording. And
Just amazing. Amazing. We were all shocked.
he would sit in the car in the front driveway and actually play it for Kevin DeBro because he was so proud of it. And Kevin even said, like, wow, this is amazing. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, definitely true story with the demo tape. Mm-hmm. And he was so proud of it. Randy was proud of it. Finally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was proud of the second one, too.
And so was my mom, too. She was like, wow. And that was the biggest thing for Randy. Yeah. If it didn't have my mom's thumbprint on it, forget it.
That was vindication for Quiet Riot. Mm-hmm. So she liked it.
Oh, that's great. I know as a musician, and you would know this as well, sometimes when you listen to a song, all you hear is the mistakes. Do you know if Randy would pull out those areas of Blizzard of Oz or Diary of a Madman that he wanted to correct?
Well, he was really a perfectionist.
He was a perfectionist.
I think in the first record, there wasn't really anything he needed to correct. It was just perfect. The second one, he kind of thought he was rushed.
Yeah,
but I don't
with Diary.
Yeah, I don't.
He felt it was put together too quickly.
I don't see but that. I think they're both great. They're both great
because that's how critical he was.
Yeah,
he just was.
He was very critical of whatever he had done.
Yeah. Have you ever heard the outtake of D, the one when he's in the studio?
Yeah.
How he. Yeah, like he's like, okay, like, whoops, like I gotta fix this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but he was proud of those records. But do you know of any parts where it would make him cringe or he wanted to try to change? No, okay,
not like that. I mean, he knew they were good, but he probably wanted more time to work on his. For example, the solo in Little Dolls. Mm-hmm. That's I don't know what they call it. I should. They put it in there while they're making it for a guide, and then they take it out and put the real solo in.
Right.
They never did that. They never did that with that song.
Okay, so that's a placeholder solo.
Yeah, they left the solo that he originally put on there to just to fill in, and then he was going to go back and do another one.
Okay.
And the one that's in there is great.
When Ozzy and Randy would come around to Los Angeles, how many times did you guys get to see him live in concert?
Oh,
twice.
No, I saw him 3 times because he came. Well, I went to San Bernardino.
Oh, they were rehearsing.
Not only saw him rehearsing, but I saw his concert at the. I went with Joni. We drove down, so I've seen 3 concerts, 1 practice in San Bernardino. So I've probably seen a little bit more than you, but
yeah, I only saw him twice.
Yeah, well, Long Beach and the.
Where was it? There was the Long Beach and Sports Arena. Sports Arena.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And how did Randy get along with the rock and roll lifestyle, especially with someone as controversial at the time as Ozzy was?
Let me say one thing about that, and then you can put your interjection in. Think about this. When Randy did this, he was only like 22, 20, so young. He still lived at freaking home. Now, we were raised very Christian. We went to church. Can you imagine leaving home for the first time, going to Europe, and then being with Ozzy Osbourne, who's, at that time was drinking into oblivion. pretty much every night.
Right.
And that really bothered Randy. And he would tell Ozzy, like, you're going to kill yourself. And, so he had never been out. This was his first exposure into the world. So can you imagine what a freaking exposure that was?
Absolutely.
Like cultural shock.
Mm-hmm.
But he handled it pretty
He handled it really well. I mean, he really loved Ozzy.
Ozzy, yeah.
And Ozzy loved him. And so he kind of just put up with it. I guess he hoped that he would eventually reform.
It seemed to me that it would have been jumping into the world's biggest circus at that point.
Well, one of them, yeah.
He used to tell us, like, oh my God, today somebody threw a dead goat on the stage, or oh my God, somebody did this. And there was and he would tell us, like, I can't, this is really freakish for me. I remember him telling us that, but.
I heard stories. I can't tell them. They're pretty weird. They are pretty bizarre, even to us. I mean.
Yeah, well, the fandom, especially of Ozzy, and even Randy now, is something that I guess has to be managed. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, tell me a little bit about Musonia, if we can talk about the school and what's happening now. And you've got a bit of a shrine to Randy as well.
I suppose you could say that. It was started 73 years ago. My mom started it with two partners, and she ran it until she passed away.
She worked there till she was 90 years old.
Yeah, and then
taught lessons till she was 90.
Then she ceded it to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we run it the same way that she did.
It's a time warp.
Yeah, it really is.
It is a time warp.
If you go walk in there, it's like it was when it was built. The original walls, fixtures, everything. It's all been maintained.
Yeah, but it's a key part of Randy's life.
It
really
is.
Key.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah, and he got a couple of his buddies to teach down there.
Rudy.
Yeah, Rudy taught down there.
George Lynch.
When Randy got his job with Ozzy, he said to my mom, "You should get George Lynch to replace me." And he took her to the Starwood, and she said, "Yeah, he's really good." And so he got in there, and when he got the job, he didn't get the job with Ozzy, George, but he got the teaching job.
Oh, okay. Did George actually go for the Ozzy job as well? He
tried for it 3 times.
Ah, got it. Okay. Yeah, that era of Los Angeles with Randy, George Lynch, and Eddie Van Halen, what a place to be.
70s, Sunset Strip.
Yeah.
Totally.
I believe there's one date with Randy and Eddie Van Halen at the same show.
At the Glendale Civic Auditorium.
Yeah, at Glendale Civic Auditorium. That's the only time they ever played together.
Did either of you see that?
Did you see it?
No, I did not.
Oh, I did.
You went there to that concert?
I went there and saw it.
No, I didn't. I had a baby then.
I went and saw it. It was really Randy was at a disadvantage because he had 102 temperature.
Oh.
So he was kind of sick. So
okay.
Van Halen had just been signed. They had a real professional show. They mopped the stage with Quiet Riot.
Understandable. So talk to me about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Randy's part of the 2021 inductees. How did that happen, and what does it mean for Randy's legacy to have that happen?
Well, it surprised us because I didn't know he was up for anything.
The Osborne camp called me and told me the night before.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden people started calling my phone and going, "Congratulations." I went, "Why? What did I do?" I go, "It can't be about music because nobody's interested in my music. So what do you congratulate?" And they said, "Your brother got inducted into the Hall of Fame." And I was, really?
Yeah. I
was surprised.
Yeah.
I think Tom Morello had a big part in that. He's on the board there, and he's a huge Randy fan. Mm-hmm. And, so, I think he's pushed for it. But I personally, and what I'm told, this is very well overdue dessert for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody says that. When they hear about it, they go, "It's about time."
Yeah, and we're very grateful for this honor. Very, very grateful, and I'm very humbled by it. And so we're going to go back, and hopefully with COVID, it all works out, and we can receive this award on his behalf.
I think it's at the end of October.
Yeah,
so.
It is October 30th.
Okay. Who knows where we'll be with the COVID by then, but we're Planning on it.
God willing, we'll be in a better place, of course.
Yeah, really. Really.
So will there be more of Randy's stuff that's being given to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? You said the Concorde's going to be there. I think the polka dot's already there. The Sandoval's already there. Is that right?
No. We're not going to give it to him again.
No, it was there twice, and it's been pulled back home. So it was on loan. It wasn't a donated piece and this is the same with this display. So what basically went there was the Concorde, his pedal board, and his shoes that left the imprint. You will see the imprint on his pedal board from his shoes, and the shoes that left the imprint are sent to the museum that actually left it, because those were his stage shoes that he wore at every concert with Ozzy. And then also the case and his guitar strap that he wore with the Jackson.
Wow.
And what I'm told from the museum today is the display probably won't be up until October. I just found that out in case anybody wants to know. So it's there now, but it's got to acclimate in like a controlled situation because of it being transported. So it acclimates and, I guess, what do you call it? Acclimates properly. And so it'll be.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And they've got the white gloves. They're taking good care of it. I'm working with Andy Leach from the Rock and Roll Museum. He knows how nervous I am about this, but they're assuring me all the way, baby steps, but they're taking good care of it. And unfortunately, I found out till October it won't be on display. I thought it would be there now, like in August, September, so people that are on vacation could go see it. But
I think the stuff stays there for a year.
It's going to be 1 year.
1 year.
Okay.
So people can see it.
I guess I could understand that because they're doing the induction at the end of October, so maybe they'll just keep it. They'll open it around that time.
They're like a grand thing, it's going to be the grand reveal of it.
For fans of Randy Rhoads who want to learn more about him, and maybe even if they're in, if there's a place for them to go, what would you recommend?
Well, first, Musonia. If they're in the area.
That's ground zero.
That's ground zero.
But did you mean like books?
No, wait. I'll give them one more recommendation.
Sure.
Go ahead.
I do a very so humble Instagram about my brother, and it's about his history. And I try to preserve it and tell things about Randy that nobody would know. And if you care to post that, I would appreciate that. But
Please.
Other than that, Musonia, and I would say,
I was going to say there's really not really good book yet.
Rudy has a good book. I like Rudy's the best.
Yeah, Rudy's is one of the best.
And I will say on that one, I pushed the most.
Yeah.
The rest, Kelly's is good. Other than that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of books. There's a couple of books out there that they're full of misinformation.
Yeah.
Yeah, they never talk to us. How can you do a book about somebody and you don't talk to the family? And then all this stuff comes out that's wrong. It's like really funny.
Well, yeah. Now Ron Sobel did do a book about Quiet Riot years, and he's entitled to that because that was his photos. And I'm not judging him for that, but that's not a chronological, life on Randy. It's more Quiet Riot years time frame. But he's entitled to that. Other than that, that's all I'll tell you. But
okay. What is your Instagram account that you have?
It's a weird name, but it's DARG, D as in David, ARG, MAMA.
Dark Mama.
It's basically short for Dargentio Mother.
Okay.
I should have had a better name, but anyway, it's okay. It's just me. And if you look it up, look it up. You'll see some pretty cool things no one's ever seen before. So
I think that's where I saw the shoes and I got in contact with you anyway. I think.
Yeah. But that's only part of the display. There's I did a 3-part, thing of the display that was going. So you'll see.
Great. Kelle, Kathy, thank you very much for spending time with us here. Any other record facts or things around Randy that may be of interest to listeners?
What was the title of your show? One more time.
The Vinyl Guide. GUIDE.
Vinyl Guide.
No, vinyl, like vinyl record.
Vinyl records.
Yeah.
Vinyl Guide.
And our audience is tens of thousands of record collectors around the world. and they're music
That's
nerds
what you're
and things
going
like
off on the Quiet Riot little albums. I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, now that makes sense.
I never saw those records before. My Magic Wand I did, but I never seen those.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
That's amazing.
Now I
have
get
those.
it. Now the connection is there.
Now let me ask you a question. Those two records, where the version for those songs came from, they came from the original records that Riot put out, right? They took them off.
I believe so. What I understand this is Kevin pulled off Kelly Garney's tracks.
Yeah.
And then someone else played bass on them, and he may have even re-recorded his vocals for Killer Girls. I don't know. I'll have to change. I'll have to check ABM. But do you have a record player, Kelly?
Yeah.
I have two of these. I'm going to send you one.
Thanks.
There's only 100 of these made, so these are very, very collectible. But I want you to have one.
Okay,
that's sweet.
That's great.
Kathy, Kelly, thank you so much for joining us here on the Vinyl Guide and talking about your brother and his work, the work that he's done and the records he was on. And it is such an honor for me, especially as a fan of his work since I was a teenager. I don't mean to date us all here, but and his music has played such a huge role in my life and a lot of the lives of our listeners. And we're very, very proud that he's going in the 2021 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And we hope that his music continues to inspire others and his legacy will continue to live on well beyond us. And again, thank you so much for coming on the show.
And I think one last thing is that his music is timeless. Timeless.
It is. It absolutely is. Yeah.
It really is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for
thank you.
showing such interest in him. And I think you were really prepared for this, and you had information I didn't even have. Well, so you did your homework.
That's the biggest compliment you could give me. That's all right. Yeah. Thank you very much. All right. Be well, be healthy, and we'll be in touch.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Nate. I'll be in touch with you.
You got it. Take care.
Take care.
Mm-hmm.
Bye-bye.
Again, it was absolutely phenomenal to hear from Kathy and Kelly, and that rare Quiet Riot record is on the way to them right now. And don't forget, a full video of this interview is available at patreon.com/vinylguide. Go up there now, help support the show, and enjoy the extras. Also, make sure to follow Kathy on Instagram, Darge Mama, and if you get near Southern California, make sure to take some time to visit and support Musonia Music School. And that's it for this episode of The Vinyl Guide. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please share these episodes on your social media. Put them up on Facebook, tweet them out on Twitter. That is always so appreciated. And if you have friends who have a smartphone but don't know about how to get podcasts yet, take a moment, show them how to subscribe to the Vinyl Guide podcast, and they and I will be forever in your debt. We'll be back shortly with the brand new episode. So until we talk next time, get out there and buy some records, people. Cheers.
That's it for this episode of The Vinyl Guide. Send your thoughts to Nate at thevinylguide.com or follow or tag us on Instagram at Vinyl Guide. Until next time, keep spinning.